According to a senior U.S. defense official, Russia's unprovoked war against Ukraine has resulted in large losses of Russian service members and combat assets, including multiple tanks and aircraft. While a complete report on tanks destroyed, abandoned, or seized as a result of Russia's invasion of Ukraine are impossible to collect, evidence circulating on social media and messaging services can provide some insight into the reality on the ground. So let's check out the Russian tank losses so far in Ukraine. This video is sponsored by Inside Prediction. If you're interested in the war in Ukraine, I recommend you to visit Inside Prediction, a real money prediction market run by academics. According to the market, Vladimir Putin has an 84% chance of still being president at the end of the year, and Russia has a 12% chance of capturing the Donbass by the end of July. If we want to bet that Putin won't be the president, we can buy a no contract for 16 cents, and it'll pay $1 if Putin loses his office. If you sign up via the link below and trade, you're eligible for a matching $50 deposit. One can deposit at Inside Prediction easily via crypto wallets. T-64BV. This is a modernized version of the T-64B main battle tank with an armor upgrade package. The T-64V version was adopted in service in 1976. In the Russian invasion of Ukraine, 14 of these tanks were destroyed so far, 3 were damaged and 3 were captured. Total losses of the Russian T-64BV is 20. T-72A. According to Ukrainian sources as well as Western observers, Russia has lost a significant number of T-72A tanks to enemy fire since it began its unprovoked and unwarranted invasion of Ukraine. 7 of these tanks have been destroyed and 11 have been captured. T-72AV tanks. 4 Russian T-72AV have been destroyed in Ukraine, 1 was damaged and 2 have been captured. The tank is a modernized version of the Soviet-made main battle tank T-72B. The tank entered service with the Russian armed forces in 1985. T-72B. This main battle tank was developed from the Russian-made main battle tank T-72A. It entered into service with the Russian army in 1984. In the Russian invasion of Ukraine, a lot of these tanks were hit by anti-tank missiles. 80 of these tanks were completely destroyed, 21 numbers have been damaged, and 34 were captured. So the total losses so far is 135. T-72B OBR 1989. This tank is equipped with Advanced Contact 5 explosive reactive armor, composite armor inside of turret, as well as 29 of these tanks were destroyed completely by missiles. 6 numbers were damaged and 17 were captured, and the total losses is 52. T-72BA. This designation is used to refer to several models of late model T-72B stripped down, refurbished, and upgraded with certain core components at Eurowagenzawodd between 1998 to 2005. In the Russian-Ukraine war, a total of 4 numbers have been lost so far. T-72B3 and T-72B3 2016. The most advanced of these upgraded T-72 variants today are Russia's T-72B3, which entered service from 2010. 109 numbers of these tanks were destroyed, 26 were damaged, and 91 were captured by Ukrainian armed forces this year. T-80BV. During the 2022 Russia-Ukraine conflict, Russian armed forces deployed a large quantity of T-80BV for combat operations. It was once considered a premium tank by the Russian military establishment. T-80BV suffered savage losses to Ukraine's armed forces. 32 numbers were at loss so far. T-80U. The T-80U main battle tank is a further development of the T-80. It entered service with the Soviet Army in 1985. Russian tanks were lost due to shoulder-mounted anti-tank weapon. Of the T-80Us, some 69 have been lost and only 28 were destroyed, while 23 were captured. T-80UK. The T-80UK is essentially a T-80U tank modified and operated by a crew able to command and control operations. It is equipped with thermal sights. In the Russian invasion of Ukraine, 1 have been destroyed and 3 were captured. Tu-80 UE-1. Modernized T-80 UE-1 tanks were adopted by the Russian military by the decree of the President of the Russian Federation in 2005. The Russian personnel lost their rare modernized T-80 UE-1 tank in the Sumy region and near the city of Trostianets. In total, Russia had lost 5 tanks with this modernization in its war with Ukraine. T-80U M2. It turned out that the only prototype of the Russian T-80U M2 tank was destroyed in Ukraine on March 17. The tank is rumored to have been knocked out in Sumy Oblast in northeastern Ukraine, apparently in the vicinity of the town of Trostianets. T-80 BVM. A number of T-80 BVM tanks have been destroyed in Ukraine. As of 30th May, a total of 25 tanks were reported to have been lost, 9 of which were destroyed. Some of them have suffered jack-in-the-box effect that has plagued the T-72. This raises the question of whether or not these tanks should be upgraded. T-90A. One of the most advanced tanks in the Russian military's arsenal has met the same fate as its predecessor fighting machines. This tank was destroyed by Ukraine forces employing hit-and-run tactics. Of the T-90As, some 19 has been lost, only 8 were destroyed, 3 were damaged, and 8 were captured. T-90M. The upgraded T-90M entered service in 2016. It is equipped with a modernized turret, advanced fire control system, and gunner's thermal sight. Specific protections are also in place against rocket-propelled grenades in the form of nets on the lower side of the turret and in the rear. T-90M, Russia's most advanced tank in service, was reportedly destroyed during a Ukrainian attack. Even with all these protections on its side, one T-90M reportedly fell prey to a US-made Javelin anti-tank missile and was completely destroyed. Apart from all these tanks mentioned, a total of 128 unknown Russian tanks were lost so far in Ukraine, of which 109 of these were destroyed, 12 were damaged, and 7 were captured so far. That's it from The Buzz for today. Thank you guys for viewing in. Stay tuned for more videos from The Buzz. Bye-bye.